All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is 5 p.m. West Coast time, 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on the East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. Rick in the house letting us know we've got a 1080 broadcast with the gear tonight. That's right, coming at you with the full 1080p power. Now, if Twitch is getting twitchy and you don't know how to deal with it, there is a little, probably like right around there's a little gear, and you can downgrade your stream in order to make everything look clean. But if you want to be at the full blast, we are coming at you 1080p. All right, Rick, goof evening to you as well. It has been an interesting day for me. Tried to get some footage on the GoPro and, well, I got the footage, but yeah, we're going to have to go redo some things and stuff. Did not like what turned out. Darlene in the house. Fantastic. All right, now that Rick or Darlene are here, might as well get the party started, right? All right. So, as I mentioned, went out to a duck pond today to get some footage from the GoPro. I even put it underwater, and I have to say, the underwater footage is quite possibly the best footage that I got, but I didn't get very much of that. So we'll have to go play around with the GoPro a little bit more before I start publishing the the results of what went down. But I have noticed that even though the last couple of weeks I've been saying, oh, it's the last of the fall colors, oh, it's the last of the fall colors, you guys, in this neck of the woods up here in the Puget Sound, normally we are rainy, rainy, rainy in November. Normally by now the ground is almost saturated and we have to worry about windstorms. Except for that one time earlier this month where it rained, it hasn't rained at all this month. And all the trees are still glorious in their fall foliage. So that was kind of cool. And I love Pat. Good to see you. Darlene, yes, in a park setting with a bunch of ducks. And I did get some neat footage, but I'll tell you what, dude. The ducks kind of like, I think they were kind of annoyed at me because you see, it is a duck park that is, or it's a pond that it's a pond that houses ducks that live there. All right, let's try that again. It's a pond, and there's lots of ducks that live there. But the pond is also, actually, it's a lake apparently, but it's so small, it's a pond. But there's houses around it, and there's a park by it. So they've been trained whenever anybody comes to the shore, that generally means they've got something, like breadcrumbs or peas and carrots and this, that, and t'other. Well, I had nothing. I came bearing no gifts. And I can tell you right now, I've got some footage of some really annoyed ducks that come up to me and then see that there's nothing, and then they just swim off in a huff. Quite hysterical, actually. So I might actually put some an angry duck video together now that I think about it. Also, I noticed that the resident ducks in that pond are usually of two varieties. There's the mallards, which are wild ducks that live there. But then there's these other ducks that are called Indian runner ducks, and I don't think that they're wild. I think that they actually are a flock that belong to one of the houses that lives on the lake. And the mallard ducks and the Indian runner ducks generally don't mix unless, of course, somebody's there with the goods. But today I did notice a whole new flock of I don't know what kind of ducks they were. I want to say they were like wood ducks. They were definitely not mallards. So I'm going to have to dig out my little bird identification book to figure out just what in the flying fork that flock was, because they were not mallards and they were not Indian runner ducks. So that was kind of excited. And yes, Darlene, they were very angry. E-Music, good to see you in the house. Rick, don't feed the ducks. Getting on your soapbox. Let me tell you, my friend, as a general rule of thumb, I agree with you. However, if you're going to feed the ducks, I have been known to feed ducks on occasion but I feed them frozen peas. Let me rephrase that. Frozen peas that have been thawed. So they're no longer frozen, but frozen peas and carrots I have fed them, and I've also seen some people feeding oatmeal to them, from the canister, not like in a bowl. And so that is okay, but maybe okay. But in regards to like the breads and the cookies and the whatever, you definitely, feeding them bread is a big no. It messes up the water quality and it messes up their digestion system. And Rick, okay, they need to migrate around where you're at. Yeah, this is, I get the feeling that the lake that I was at, I get the impression that other birds from places like you migrate to it because it very rarely freezes over. We definitely have, and the mallards are residents there. They don't migrate. They just hang out there all year round. Or maybe the mallards do migrate, and then like another batch of mallards comes in during the winter versus the summer. I don't really know. I don't tag them, but we've always got mallards in that pond. So the migration for the ducks in this situation isn't an issue. But you are totally right. Hey, Dusty32, good to see you. I'm talking about a failed video attempt that I had today. Or it's not quite failed yet, but we're talking about ducks, basically. We're talking about ducks. So there we have it. And Darlene, right, no donuts, no breads, no cookies. It can actually make them ill. Precisely. Get on that. Darlene, you get on your soapbox. That is exactly correct. Which is why if you're going to go feed the ducks, it's been advocated by those who know more than me that you do something like frozen peas and carrots or like frozen corn. And when I say frozen, I mean thawed out. And I also mean not canned, because the canned stuff has a high sodium content, which also isn't good for the ducks. So basically, the vegetables, if you want to throw them little vegetables, they are fine with it. Now, I can tell you this. The ducks at the lake that I went to prefer peas to carrots. And the Indian runner ducks, while they prefer the peas to the carrots, they will lower themselves to eat those little carrots that the mallards leave behind. The mallards outright just won't eat the carrots. They just, no, I don't like the carrots. So the mallards don't like the carrots. The Indian runner ducks, they'll eat them if they're the only thing left, but they also prefer the peas. So if you are inclined to feed your ducks, in my experience, they prefer peas to carrots. Your ducks may differ. And precisely, Rick, free food habituates them to stay too late. Then the weather gets nasty and those nice people with the food stay home and the waterfowl suffer. And not only that, in some species, not only free food, but an abundance of food at the wrong time of year, like winter, can throw them into estrus, which I don't think that's really true for waterfowl, but for mammals, although it might be true for waterfowl, I cannot say. But it can throw them into estrus and get their breeding patterns kind of thrown off. And then all of a sudden they get pregnant too early in the season, and their babies suffer because there isn't enough food because they were being fed and now they're not. So yeah, that's our little wild waterfall talk Wednesday. Definitely no breads, definitely no donuts. And let's see here. Okay, so Kenny from the Cove is coming in with like the highest class foods you could possibly feed a duck. By the way, Kenny, good to see ya. The last time I fed the ducks at City Park, I only fed the crippled one. I call him Bruh, and I fed him live minnows that I got from the bait store. Okay, well now you can't even, the only reason why you would not want to do that is, like Rick mentioned, if you're in an area that's super cold, obviously you're not going to want to do that at this time of year. But if you're going to feed ducks anything, holy flirkinsnit, a live little minnow, just like what they would eat in the wild. Well, I don't know if minnows are in every lake and pond, but they eat fish. That's That puts my frozen peas to shame. That puts my frozen peas to shame. But I got the vegetarian ducks covered. I don't know if there's vegetarian ducks, but we'll say. And yeah, Rick, good question. I am curious, Kenny, how did you feed? I'm curious about two things. How did you feed just the one duck? First off, like, how did that even happen? And second, how did you feed him the minnow? Like, did you just throw it on the ground? How did that work? So, I mean, supremely awesome that you did that, because that is exactly the kind of food you should be feeding your little crippled duck friend. But yeah, exactly, Darlene. Generally, if there's food being around, in my experience, it's not even when there's food around, it's when there's people approaching the shore that the ducks are like, gotta go see what's going on, because there might be food. Hey, Pussycat, good to see you. Yep, we're a little quacky and quirky today. We are talking about the little ducky ducks and SS Minnow. That's so cute. That's exactly it. So yeah, Kenny, I hope, is writing and typing his little long response, because let me tell you, Kenny, I think we're all a little bit curious as to how you managed to do that. Oh, wait, did you maybe? Okay, so this is my idea. I still don't know how you got only the one duck, but let's just say it was only the one duck. Did you have like a little, Tupperware container of the little fishies in water, and then you just put it down so the duck could like dive for fishies the way that ducks like to do stuff? You put it in a bucket, or I mean, not a bucket, but something. You know what I'm trying to say, right? How'd you do it, Kenny? How'd you do it? And so while we're waiting for Kenny's method, if he wishes to reveal his secrets. Okay, so he does wish to reveal his secrets. He tossed them on the ground. The other ducks were busy getting crackers and bread from other people. Bra doesn't get around too well, so I got as close as I could and tossed it on the ground. Awesome. Okay. All right. Nice. That sounds good. And I don't know if ducks have a little way to brag with one another, but I'd be willing to bet that, after he joined the rest of the ducks getting the crackers, the other ducks are like, "Hey, you don't got cracker breath. You don't got cracker breath at all. You got fish breath. Where'd you get the fish? Man?" And yeah, Darlene, that's what I was thinking. A bowl or a container with the fish, in water, so they're swimming still or whatever if they're alive, and he can, the little duck can put his face in the water and pretend like he's swimming for fishies again. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the duck goes in the water anyway. I don't know what he's crippled. For some reason, I envisioned him just having one foot, and so if he was in the water, he would just swim in circles. But Kenny didn't say that at all. That's just a figment of my imagination, but that is exactly what I thought when he said that he was crippled. A singular footed duck swimming in circles. And Rick, I didn't try to stuff any of the ducks, but and I'm assuming that Kenny didn't, but then again, he might have developed a particularly easy way to catch a duck for Christmas dinner or for Thanksgiving. And Pussycat, you love ducks. They're very tasty. I don't know if I've ever had duck, actually. I know that once, let's see what I'm trying to say. I remember once when I was younger, family friends from Hawaii came up and we went to Seattle's International District. This was before I lived in Seattle. We went to the International District and we went to some Chinese food restaurant and they ordered Peking duck. Now granted, they put in that order 3 days ahead of time or whatever, like you have to with Peking duck. But it was so special that none of the kids were allowed to eat it. And so I don't remember, like, that's the only time I ever remember duck being even on a table that I was at. And I'm pretty sure I didn't get to eat it because I very distinctly remember the grown-ups making a really big deal about how the kids don't get any of this, which kind of sucked. But let's see here. So Kenny, the minnows were swimming in the water that the bait shop bagged them in. Right. Okay. Yeah. So they were live. And Kulika, good to see you, by the way. That's why you quit hunting ducks. They taste like swamp, but the whole experience of calling and turning the flight to come in to the decoys was cool. Now I'd rather just take pics. Yeah. Well, there you go. And Kulika, I wonder, cause so many people, okay. So Pussycat's saying that the meat is dark. So many people do really love ducks, but honestly, I'm not at all surprised to hear that, like, they kind of taste like where they live, and some of them kind of live in the ducks at the lake that I went to today. It's like, I don't really know if I'd want to eat a duck that lived in that place. I mean, it's not that the lake is dirty per se, but it is surrounded by residences and streets, and just, with runoff, and it's awfully marshy, kind of swampy down there where, at the lake. And I know that, like, some catfish taste kind of muddy because that's where they grew up. And so I'm not at all surprised to hear that ducks might not be as yummy as other people think they are. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, commercially raised ducks aren't necessarily swampy. But there's nothing about what you just said that surprises me, actually. So let's see here. Rick is saying you hike the stream at your cabin and fall and listen and call the ducks. Sometimes they come in, but you're just looking. Nice. There you go. And, okay, so Kenny from the Cove. Bra has something visibly wrong with one leg and walks with a severe limp. I can totally relate to having janky legs. That's why you're so fond of him. That's so cute. That is so cute. And then Darlene saying you've had goose, duck, grouse, and wild turkey. Wild game does have to be prepared a certain way for it, or it will taste really, really gamey. Right. Oh no, Kalika, when you were a small kind kid, having duck dinner with family, dad bit into one BB, gave me big stink eye. Oops. And Kulika, ducks are mean, at least the domestic. Well, you know what, Ann? I don't know if the ducks are mean at the lake that I just went to, but I can tell you, they had some attitude. I mean, clearly attitude. When they found out I did not have anything for them to eat, they were none too pleased. And by the way, you guys, I just noticed we didn't have any background music on, so here we go, Lona in the background. And let's see here. Kenny, all the wild ducks you've ever eaten have been totally no. You've only ever bitten down on one shotgun pellet. Well, there you go, only one. And yeah, Rick, exactly, that old saying, you are what you eat. That's why, first off, the lake that I went to is a city park, and so obviously hunting duck in that area is completely illegal. But if one were to procure a duck from that area somehow, I'm thinking that duck might not be that tasty. Now, granted, they do eat a lot of people food because people obviously come and feed them. So I guess maybe they might not be full of swamp grass and slime, but most of their diet is, the weird fish that live in that lake and and swamp grass and slime. Darlene, geese are definitely mean. I was chased all around by a gaggle of geese at your aunt's farm. It wasn't fun. Those buggers can run. Oh, heck yeah, they can run. Their bites are hard enough to leave a flippin' bruise. And they hiss. So I don't think this, I really should have looked for this, but I don't think this goose still exists. But right near the lake that I was at, if I walk home from that lake on a certain route, there's a house that you have to pass by that has a pet gray goose. And the gray goose has its nesting hangout area very far away from the house in the cluster of trees right by the driveway along the fence line between the fence and the road. So when you're walking past the house, out of the shadowy bushes comes this incredibly loud hissing noise. And then this goose pops up, and I swear to God, the goose is over 3 feet tall. Its neck is about as wide as my forearm. And let me tell you, my forearm is, I'm not a tiny person. My forearm is very large. And for the goose's neck to be that, it's an intimidating goose. Oh my goodness gracious, it is an intimidating goose. Not only is it an intimidating goose, it actually has a Facebook presence. Like, I found it on Facebook once. I just did a quick, like, Arbor Lake goose, and immediately, boom, like, the internet knew exactly what I was talking about. So it has a reputation in this area as a very intimidating beast. Pussycat, all those chickens running around on Oahu, you'd be making barbecue chicken. You know, I'll tell you what, man. The birds that are running around Oahu are truly like the wilder chickens, and it's so funny to see a wild chicken versus a domesticated chicken, and how much they have bred domesticated chickens to be so big, because the ones that are running around Hawaii, it's just like they're barely bigger than a crow practically. I mean, there's really not a lot of meat on them, you know. So if you're gonna go eat the Oahu chickens, dude, seriously, you're gonna need more than one. They're really very, very petite. You know, they're like Cornish game hens or something. Which, by the way, I'm sure is actually how they were naturally, you know, evolved, was only to be that big. Because I know if you look at like old cookbooks, they talk about like, get a 3-pound chicken, you know, and I'm like, where on earth can you find a 3-pound chicken? If you go to the grocery store, they're like 5 and 6 and 7-pound chickens. I mean, the chickens in the grocery store are practically as big as flipping turkeys, for God's sake. So yeah, I think that the domesticated ones have definitely been bred to like have more meat on their bones. And Darlene, yeah, because they're wild, they're probably a lot more lean, and they're a little bit tough. So you'd, yeah, no, I know what you meant. So you'd probably want to, you know, stew. That'd be a stewing bird, as it were. You know, make some chicken and dumplings. Get that, boil that, you know, simmer down. Now you got to simmer down that chicken. And Rick, if that goose is still alive, and I'm assuming that that's what you're saying, we need a video of, is that stupid goose popping up. If that goose is still alive, I'll see if I can get a video of it. And Darlene, oh boy, be wary. If there's a nest nearby, stay clear. They'll actually fly at you and attack you. Yeah, you know, honestly, I first off, I think it was just his hangout space, or her. I don't know if it was a girl or a boy goose. I don't think it was like, you know, watching on or sitting on eggs, but it was clearly, you know, this is where the duck likes to hang out, or the goose likes to hang out. So, you know, it's his territory or her territory, regardless of whether or not there's youngins around. It's definitely like, this is my bedroom and no one is allowed in my bedroom. And let's see here. So eggs would be good, but not eating chicken. Throw in one lava rock. When rock is soft, chicken is done. Hold on, let's see here. Hold on, wait, Kalika, so eggs would be good for the wild chickens, you mean? But you're not gonna eat the chicken. But you put in a lava rock, and when the rock is soft, so wait, hold on. You put a lava rock, okay, first off, I've totally heard of cooking chickens by putting hot rocks inside the chicken. So this is where I'm going with this, Kulika. So you take a lava rock, you get it hot, and you put it in the hot chicken, or you put it in the chicken, and then what? You put the chicken, I guess, you know, with other rocks or near a fire. But when the rock is inside the bird, when the rock gets soft, then the chicken is done? Is that what you're saying? I'm so confused. I'm very confused, but that's okay. I spend a lot of my time confused, so we're all good. And let's see here. So Kenny from the Cove, in high school days, the varsity baseball field was in City Park across from the duck pond. Nobody wanted to shag foul balls that went over the pond wall because of all the mean geese. One guy wouldn't go without a baseball bat. That is funny and not surprising and smart. And hey, Cindy Krause, good to see you. Good to see you. Oh, okay, Kulika. So there's two types of chicken. There's chicken layers and eaters. They aren't interchangeable. Really? Well, really? I mean, so, okay, so now I've got another question, Kulika. So when you say there's two types of chickens, layers and eaters, are you saying there's two kinds of breed, or there's separate breeds? Or are you saying you don't eat the chick hens because they're busy laying eggs, but you eat the roosters? Because the roosters obviously don't lay eggs, so now I'm confused. Darlene, at the college where you worked every spring, a duck couple always chose this one area on the grounds, and when the female was hatching eggs, the male was very territorial and attacked people. Nice, finally fenced in their little area till the eggs were hatched. That's perfect. That is so perfect. Kulika, okay, different breeds. Got it, okay. Well, you know though, I'll tell you what. If I had a hen that stopped laying and I was starving, I probably would eat the layer, even if I'm not supposed to. I maybe would be disappointed, but I'd probably eat it still. But, you know, speaking of birds, from what I've heard, you know that saying, eat crow? Well, people actually have eaten crow before, and apparently it tastes really good. Like, it tastes better than chicken. I'm not saying I'd be eating I'm not saying that I would be eating the crow, but apparently crow tastes good. And okay, so Kenny, you're coming in with also agreeing with Kulika. There's laying hens and roasting hens, different breeds. So right, okay, so Kulika, gotcha. Yeah, they're edible. They're just not tasty. Got it. Okay. Wow, I had no idea. Well, gosh, guys, I mean, I hope that you guys learned something today. I know that I have learned something today. I had no idea about the difference between laying hens and eating hens. I kind of assumed that you would eat either or. I kind of assumed you ate the hen after they stopped laying. Or you eat the hen before it starts laying, because then it's a spring chicken, and spring chickens are the best, right? So let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, blackbird pie used to be a popular thing in parts of Louisiana. Okay, so when you say blackbird, do you mean crow, or do you mean blackbirds? Because oddly enough, they're different breeds. So let's see here. Darlene coming in, and it depends on the type of feed you give the different chickens. The egg-laying ducks get fed differently than the chickens meant for a dinner plate. Interesting. Well, now, I did know that you want to feed laying hens a certain amount of, or a certain kind of food, usually with more calcium or something in it, so it helps the shells not be so soft. But I didn't realize that it I didn't realize that type of feed was not okay for eating birds or whatever. And let's see here. Kulika, our eating chickens are a result of a nationwide contest in the early 50s. Okay, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but dude, seriously, you need to tell me, like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What? Yeah, no, tell me more. And, Puzzycat, you've never eaten crow. You have eaten sharks, gators, and rattlesnake. You're from Florida. Fair enough. And let's see here. Why was the chicken so funny? She was a real comedian. That's cute, Rick. That is a real dad joke. I love it. And Pussycat, I don't know why I'm always surprised to hear that there's rattlesnakes in Florida. I know that there's venomous snakes galore in Florida, but for some reason I always associate rattlesnakes with drier areas, and I've got this weird idea that Florida is a swamp as opposed to a dry area. So it just doesn't, it's just like this mental disconnect. But you've mentioned rattlesnakes in Florida before. I do believe you. Every time you say it, it's like, well, that's just weird to me. And by the way, I've known a couple people who've eaten rattlesnake, and it's apparently it's pretty good eating, actually. And, okay, Darlene coming in. Well, first, Rick's coming in. Chicken philosophizers think about the meaning of egg existence. And yeah, I know it's not philosophizers, but that's what I'd like to say. And Darlene, though, the reason why you know all this is because at your daughter's school, they have a chicken coop, pen and all, they use as educational use and sell the eggs for the feed and supplies for them. Oh, that is awesome, dude. I would totally buy those eggs. I mean, obviously I wouldn't because I'm too far away, but I hope that that's like kind of maybe where you get your eggs. Cause I love the eggs where you know where they came from. Yummy, yummy. Hey, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, how you doing? We're sitting here talking about eggs and chickens. And did you know that chickens for laying eggs are not the same kind of chicken that you eventually eat at your table? They're two different kind of breeds of chickens. I had no idea. And Kenny from the Cove, you'd rather eat gator than rattlesnake? Gator tastes better? Okay. My sister says that alligator tastes a little bit like chicken and fish combined. Kind of just like a fishy chicken. I don't know if that's a good example, but there you have it. And oh, good. You're doing all right. That's good to know. And I can't reach it. I thought of you the other day, Vanilla Coke Pepsi. I bought myself a big old jug of maple syrup. And that is of course why I thought of you. And I thought you'd be very proud of me because it's in a big glass jug and it's a product of Canada. It's not just a product of the US, it's actually a product of Canada. And let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you assume the guy chickens were the ones we eat, like how we usually eat male cows while female cows make milk. Totally logical, dude, but no, apparently not. But totally logical. Like that makes total sense. But no, apparently not. Apparently not. And okay, so Kalika, you think it was a Department of Agriculture program to finding a better chicken. That's why we've got the ones that we've got now that we eat. So it sounds like then before 1950, the different breeds weren't necessarily in existence yet. So like before 1950, any old chicken could do for laying or for eating, I guess. Is that what I'm hearing? Let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you love maple syrup. Glass containers add an extra flavor. If you know, it's hard to explain. It hits different in glass. Well, okay. I don't know. I'm not enough of a maple syrup connoisseur to have recognized that yet. But I do know that like when it comes to soda pop, in a plastic bottle versus a glass bottle, there is a world of difference when it comes to flavor. So I do get the whole glass versus other materials. But now I'm curious, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, do you prefer it in glass or do you prefer it in, I guess, plastic? Or my next question, is there something other than plastic or glass that the maple syrup comes in? And let's see here. Oh my goodness, you just saw on the news in the Florida Everglades, they found a big python that swallowed a 5-foot gator. Not at all surprised. And it's really too bad because the gator's the natural species and the python's the invasive one. So really, the gators need to get on eating the pythons, not vice versa. But whatever. Kenny from the Cove, beer, maple syrup, and soda pop are all better in glass. Exactly. And Kenny from the Cove, I cannot try the maple syrup and chicken nuggets yet because I don't have chicken nuggets in my freezer right now. But that reminds me, hey, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, have you ever had maple syrup on your chicken nuggets? Because I think Kenny from the Cove was talking about that a few streams ago, and I don't think you were here. And everybody was like, oh, I wonder if Vanilla Coke Pepsi's ever tried that. Because it sounds like something that you might have tried before. And Puzzycat, you've seen deer inside of the pythons? Yeah, see, these are just, pythons are not supposed to be here, man. I mean, I realized that if I was in Africa or Asia or Australia, then pythons can be here. Because I think that's where pythons belong. I think they're in Australia. I might be lying about that. But gall dung it, boa constrictors are where the America. Boa constrictors are from the Americas, and they don't go around eating alligators and deers. They don't do that. And if they do, we don't hear about it. And so Vanilla Coke Pepsi, it's usually sold in small plastic jugs or glass jugs. You prefer the glass. They used to be sold in giant tin cans, but you haven't seen those in years. My mom used to get this golden syrup that came in a tin can. And yeah, I don't think they do that, the tin cans anymore, because I think they're kind of messy. Okay, so no, that's just gross and extra. Okay. Kenny from the Cove begs to differ. He had nugs and syrup for lunch just yesterday. All right, well, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, if you don't have maple syrup on your chicken nuggets, then what do you put on your chicken nuggets? I'm a fan of barbecue sauce or teriyaki sauce myself. Oh, hey, Terry, good to see you. Excelente. Welcome, Raiders. Let's see who's coming on in. I'm going to guess that Pinnell might be here. I'm going to guess C. Honda. Maybe Carl in Arkansas. All right, Pinnell coming in. First one that I guessed. Aloha, Raiders. And let's see here. Maple syrup goes with a few things on its own. Pancakes, waffles, milk, cocktails, ice cream, fries, coffee, bacon, snow, and a few other things. Interesting. I have never tried maple syrup in milk. I've never tried it in cocktails, but I totally can see how that happens. Never tried it on ice cream, but why have I not tried it on ice cream? French fries, that seems a little extra. If you put them on French fries, you might as well put them on your chicken nuggets. And, okay, so Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you like sweet and sour barbecue sauces for ribs. All right. Hey, Photo Luke, good to see you. Awesome, Gina. Welcome to the Statterbox crew today. Terry in Scotland, hello. We are talking about, we're talking about a bunch of things. We're talking about maple syrup and what you can put it on. We were talking about eggs and chickens and ducks and the fact that chickens, so this is something that I learned today. There are two breeds of chickens, or two types of breeds of chickens, which is you've got your laying chickens for the eggs and you've got your eaten chickens for your eaten, and never the two shall meet. Apparently, you don't eat the ones that make the eggs, and you don't let the ones that you eat for meat make the eggs, because they're just not right. Apparently. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi, still talking about maple syrup, because I asked him to, not because that's all he talks about, but it's because I asked him for this information. Bacon and maple syrup is heavenly. Same with maple syrup toffee you make in snow. I remember, okay, this is so stupid of me, but Vanilla Coke Pepsi, I remember reading about, it was a Little House on the Prairie book. Actually, it was, I think, one of the first ones, Little House in the Big Woods, if I remember correctly. It took place in Wisconsin, and there was a whole chapter about making maple syrup and getting a pan of snow and then putting the syrup on the snow and having it sort of harden into this chewy toffee-like thing. And And I went, as a kid, I didn't understand that maple syrup and then what we had in our cupboard were not the same thing. So I went and tried to make the maple syrup toffee on the snow with like Aunt Jemima's or whatever. Wholly disappointed. Realized the error in my ways, and from that moment on, I've actually like wanted to have the maple syrup toffee. I want to try it. I want to try it so bad. But whenever it's snowy outside, I don't have real maple syrup in the house. And whenever I have real maple syrup in the house, it's not snowy outside. So I have to say, hopefully, not that I want it to snow this year, but I kind of do want it to snow like right now so I could go make some maple syrup toffee, because I've never had it and I've really wanted to try it since I was a little kid. And Pinnell, you have put maple syrup on a Klondike bar. That actually doesn't sound bad. I'm not a fan of Klondike bars, mostly because I just don't like the texture of the cold chocolate with ice cream. But maple syrup on ice cream of any kind sounds like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So let's see here. Oh no, it's horrible where you're at. Of course it is, because of course it's already that cold. Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Wow, it was 15 to -4 in a week. Yeah, that's a bit of a drop. That is a bit of a drop. E-Music, it's snowing where you're at. Bring the maple syrup. Yes, I will bring the maple syrup. And let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi. Maple syrup on vanilla is really good. We also have maple syrup walnut ice cream, and it's really good. Oh, Pinnell, I misunderstood. It was a maple syrup flavored ice cream Klondike bar? Oh, I don't think we've got those in the States. Oh, I think that's a Canadian thing. Oh, I think I might be a little jealous. Can I say oh another time? Oh yeah, I think I can. Oh yeah, I want to try that. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi, the maple syrup walnut ice cream, that was one of my grandma's favorite ice creams. And I have to say, the walnut in it I just cannot. Now, granted, I haven't tried it since I was a little kid and tastes evolved, but no, the walnut, I just cannot. Oh, I don't know. You can have all of that. I'll give it all of, if we sit next to each other and we're served walnut maple ice cream, I'll just let you have some. Pinnell, right? Canadian grandmas love walnut maple ice cream, right? Don't they? And I'm assuming your grandma was Canadian, what with you living in Canada, and I know my grandma was Canadian, so. Oh, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, it was your dog's first snow, and you just sent a thing in Discord. Oh, god dang it. I can't get it right now, but I will get it before the end of the stream, so we can look at your little pupper's first snow experience. That's right. And Darlene, I like pretty much any kind of ice cream, but you do like butter pecan. Butter pecan's good, but I always thought that butter pecan and pralines and cream were like sort of interchangeable, but I found out after doing a side-by-side taste test that they are not. And I think I prefer pralines and cream to butter pecan, even though the name butter pecan sounds way better to me than pralines and cream. And let's see here. Mango or peaches and cream ice cream is your favorite? Gosh, I don't know if I've had a peaches and cream ice cream, but mango ice cream, especially I think Haagen-Dazs has a mango. Oh God, it's so flippin' good. Yeah, mango ice cream is pretty tasty. I will give you that. Terry, 38, where you're at, I think it's about, I don't know if it's 38 right now, but I think it's gonna be 38 pretty soon. It was around that temperature last night. Oh look, it's only 42 right now, but it's gonna get down to 36, so yeah. Terry in Scotland and I are quite often parallel weather universes, and we definitely are right now in that parallel weather universe. 26 degrees? Kulika, 29 degrees. Pinnell, no. Nope. That's, actually, you know what? Not nope. That's just perfect soup and cozy soup weather. And Gina, also in a parallel weather pattern. 43 degrees where you're at, 42 where I'm at. I just checked. And holy crumb, eMusic 29 and going down to 21. Yeah. And yeah, Rick is also in that. Yeah, you and Rick sharing the parallel weather patterns there. 30 degrees. And let's see here. Cindy Krause, it's 61 where you're at, but it's going to be a low of 34. Cindy, I don't even know how you live life. You go from like the coldest of the cold to the hottest of the hot in like 2 seconds sometimes. I mean, you're sitting there, you know, just like a week ago. Oh my God, it's 187,540 degrees. But then it's going to be like 26. Oh yeah, it's going to be 26. Let's see here. Gina. Gina, what are we talking about tonight? I know, right? What are we talking about tonight? Well, the conversation started about ducks, and then it went in a lot of places. Eggs, hens, maple syrup, and now we're talking about the weather. So, I don't know, man. What are we talking about right now? It's a really good question. And, yeah, exactly, Cindy. You are freeze or fry in your area. Exactly. Oh my gosh, man. Yeah. So, okay. So you guys, yeah, you got there on Terry's Raid. Oh yeah, totally. I knew you were going to be coming in on Terry's Raid, or I figured you were actually. And yeah, you're all sucked into the Fortnite scene, which is super awesome. I feel like I want to learn about it, but at the same time, I don't need another thing to get to. I don't need another thing to get sucked into. So, yeah, exactly. You lose track of time on that game. I have no doubt in my mind. And boy, I have time sucks in a lot of other places, so I don't need to sign up for another one. But it does look kind of like, I mean, at least you're wasting time with other people, which is kind of neat. I have to admit, I am a little intrigued by the Fortnite scene. And so let's see here. Vanilla Coke Pepsi, please don't mention that video game, please. Uh-oh. Holy crumb, iRoots has gone for days. Wow, I can't even imagine. I mean, oh wow. No, wow. I like my sleep. Bacola Tea coming in. Fantastic. Costco shopping done. Bought holiday snacks for the mainland family, only to discover they'll be on sale after Gobble Day. So we returned all of it and we'll save $33 when you repurchase. Nice. Gina, yeah, you had to learn teamwork and relying on others learning this game. That actually sounds like a game maybe I should learn to play, because teamwork is not my strong point. Let's just say I'm more of an individual a loner there. All right, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you're going to head out now. I haven't looked at the puppy photos, but we are going to be sharing the puppy photos later on. So thank you so much for sharing them, because everybody loves a puppy photo. I mean, we're going to love them, Vanilla Coke Pepsi, I promise you. And so let's see here. Oh, I know. All right, so you guys, I'm guessing that this is one of the things that Bacola Tea returned that she will then be buying after the holidays. While Bacola Tea was at Costco today, yeah, that's right, you guys. I'm on the, I know where everybody is and what they're doing at all times. That's right. Because while Bacola Tea was at Costco today, I happen to know she was looking at these. And I have to wonder, what are these? What are shrimp cheeks? What is a shrimp cheek? And then my next question is, are these frozen or are these chips that are on that are room temperature? What are shrimp cheeks? Bacola Tea. That's right. I was following you in Costco today at your over your shoulder, when you pick those up, I took a picture. Okay, that's not what I did. What actually happened is she texted me from Costco and was like, hey, I'm always at Costco. I'm always at Costco when you've got a live stream. Here's a picture of what I'm looking at. And so I was like, well, I am stealing that picture because what on earth are you talking about? And Terry in Scotland, that is exactly what my first question was. Because it's like, first off, they don't have much of a face. So what do you mean cheeks? And then I was like, well, they do have, kind of a big old butt. And so it's like, well, isn't that the shrimp meat though? I mean, like, what? So it's so confusing. And, okay, so they're dried like chips. So they're not frozen. Okay. All right. So we look, see, Cindy Krause, I don't think that they do look like the shrimp chip. Because the shrimp chips that I've eaten are more like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, they don't look all deep fried like that, right? They look more like these look like they're, I wish I could make words. Pussycat, it's a bag of bait. Well, it might be. But the shrimp chips that I've had are usually like either chip-ish, Pringle-ish flavor shaped, or they're like crinkle fry shaped, but they're sort of like Funyuns, like, it's ground up, dehydrated, whatever, onion, in this case shrimp, made into some kind of dough or whatever you want to call it, and then fried. And whereas these look like, I don't even know what these look like. I'll tell you what, dude. Yeah, it says crispy. Okay, so first ingredient on back label, shrimp cheeks. That still does not help shrimp cheek people. They looked puffy, sort of like pork rinds, except shrimp color. Okay. Kenny from the Cove, shrimp cheeks, because nobody would buy them if you called them shrimp o'colis. These are all reasonable logics, and I have to say, next time my boss is making a Costco order, I'm gonna see if they can get me a bag of those. Rick, it does look like dried fried shrimp heads. It really does. And so that's kind of what I guess, so what it really boils down to is which cheek are we talking about here? Because that can make or break my decision, right? Actually, that's not probably true. I would probably still eat the shrimp head, or at least I'd try the shrimp head. And Picola T, ass is not a great marketing word for food anyway. Yeah, exactly. Rick, without the eyes, that'd be too far. I don't really know. Once it's deep fried, I'm not really sure. I just don't want the antenna. I just don't want to deal with that. But I will admit this. Now this, I expect after I say this, everybody is just like gonna turn off the stream and walk away and possibly vomit. You will all leave me in the dust. You'll just be like, I didn't even know that this was something that she would say. But when it comes to like, deep fried shrimp, they still have the tail, that still has the shell and stuff. I eat the shell. I eat the little tail with the shell. I do. I eat the shrimp shell. Not the full shell. I don't do that. But like, on the fried shrimp, I eat the shrimp's ass. There you go. After I said those words out loud, I realized what it really sounded like, and that's not what I meant. But I eat the tail, okay? Terry in Scotland, shrimp ass might be preferable to swamp ass. Especially, yeah, for sure, because shrimpies don't live in the swampy swamps. Exactly, it's the crispy bits, Kalika. Yeah, I have had so many people that I've eaten, fried shrimp with, and they're at the end of the meal, they're like, where are all your tails? And it's like, well, I ate them. Why are all your tails still there? And Kenny, you're making me feel good. Okay. From what you understand, a lot of folks eat the shrimp tail. And Picola T, right. If they're a little bit, you can eat them. But yeah, the whole big shell, no, that's like eating a toenail or something. Yeah, there's no need for that. And Darlene, oh good, you don't think so? You've eaten worse things. Some Polish dishes made with different types of ingredients. There you go. All right, well, whew, I haven't lost everybody yet. But if suddenly the rating went down, that's cause of it. And let's see here. Pussycat, don't eat the shell of the shrimp. It's got the vein in it. Well, yeah, I mean, you want to make sure the vein, the intestine, actually, is removed. That's true. That is very true. But eating shell or not, you'd still want to make sure that vein is removed if you're eating the shrimp, right? I mean, let's see here. But Gina, you don't like shrimp, so I'm not inclined to try. But inquiring minds and all that. Yeah, exactly. And really, I mean, shrimp cheeks does allude to two different things. And here's a little funny story for you about the two different kinds of cheeks. And brand new parenthood mom stuff. I don't know what was wrong with me. I had something wrong with me. She had to take me to the doctor. I was a very small child. My dad worked. She stayed at home. Took me to the doctor because I was sick. The doctor, I'm guessing I was throwing up or something. I don't know. The doctor had the solution. It was a suppository. The doctor gave my mom the suppository for the child, me, the infant, me. Said, go home, stick the suppository where you need to, and then hold her cheeks to keep it in. Now, my mom knew what a suppository was. So she did that. And then she held my cheeks like this. And the suppository slid out. So she spent the next half an hour trying to get the suppository to stay in by holding my cheeks. And, it was this continual. By the time my dad got home, she was frantic. The suppository would not stay in, and she was in tears. Met my dad at the door in tears and was wailing, the baby's sick, blah, blah, blah. The doctor told me to do this, blah, 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 blah. And I keep holding her cheeks, but it keeps falling out. And at that point, when my mom said what she said, and she saw the look on my dad's face, she realized what cheeks she should have been holding. And so my dad was like, let me just take care of this. How about you let me give it a try? And so my dad, who grew up on a farm and had just a little bit of sense, he was very successful at keeping the suppository in, because these cheeks had such a workout, he thought he would maybe give the other cheeks a try. Yeah. So, too much information. Oh no, honey bunches. I tell this story to every single new mother that is terrified of being a new mom. And I say, look, man, I was the firstborn. My mom was clueless about parenting. My dad, having grown up on a farm, had a vague idea. But she was clueless. I was like, and this is what happened to me. And I was like, as long as, it's like, and I kind of survived okay. I grew up to be almost 50 years old. So I was like, look, if you think that you can do better than what my mom did, then you're already miles ahead of the game. Don't worry. And so it might have been too much information for you, Pussycat, but I can tell you this right now. Every new mom who I've ever told that story to walks away, because she's pregnant, she's scared, she doesn't know what's up. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to be a better mom than that. And you know what? Almost everybody is. I mean, I'm not trying to I'm definitely not dissing my mom, but for real, you guys, holding the cheeks. I mean, come on. Come on. Oh, Terry in Scotland. One old lady, the other. Ethel, what's that in your ear? It looks like a suppository. Oh no, now I know where I put my hearing aid. That's funny. That's funny. And yeah, exactly, Darlene. You have to learn along the way. And the firstborn, well, they get to they get a lot of, oh, well, that's not how you do it. They get a lot of learning. They give a lot of learning moments to the parents, right? Yep. Yeah. You can't. There is definitely no manual. Although one would like to think that there would have been better instructions than just hold the cheeks. On the other hand, I just don't even know. So, all right, you guys, how about this? On this note, we're going to have a little Lono break. And while we have the Lono break, I am going to look for the cute puppy pictures that Vanilla Coke Pepsi shared with us off the Discord channel, and I'll see if I can pull them in. So right now, let's listen to some Lono.
Fight the fight for what is truth as we seek the light. When people gather on this land, you can hear the holy and hear the chants. New holy, 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 holy. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh. Done before, and in our prayers we pray for more. God is love and good for you. Write love on the list of things to do. Write love. Yeah, yeah. Wake up in church, spend all day in church, and at the setting sun we go to sleep in church. They say it's a Hawaiian thing. Love Molokai is why we sing. Love Molokai. Yeah, yeah. Just some things that need to be said from the heart, dancing in the head. And if you've heard it, you will benefit. And I thank you for your time, my friend. Ahui ho, 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 ho. Yeah, yeah.
All right there. That was a battle to get myself unmuted. Pinnell, holy flirking snit, 104? I thought that 104 was kind of like, well, I guess for like babies, I don't know. I thought 104 was like when you should start being concerned. Like totally, 102, I mean, it sucks, but it's like, meh. Get the temperature down as quick as you can, but not really. But I always thought 104 was like that tipping point where it was just like, okay, maybe you need to get some professional help now. But obviously, I don't know. I've got no kids. I have no idea. I have no nothing. But yeah, I can totally see how, being the fifth kid or whatever, it's just like, she'll live. And if she doesn't, I've got 4 more spares. I've got 4 spares. Yeah, see, that's what I thought, Kulika. 104, yes, be concerned. Like, I mean, I do know that, like, 102, while the 2 degrees seems like, well, it's close enough. From what I understand, 102, it's like, ooh, keep an eye on it, but you're not in the red zone yet, so to speak. But 104, that just seems like really hot. And Kenny, the only time my parents really worried about my health was the one time you accidentally ingested an amoeba. What? And so it made you gastrointestinally all messed up, I guess. I'm very confused about what amoeba you swallowed, but that's okay. I don't know if I really want to have much of those details. And, oh, right, doctors did house calls then. You know, it's funny you should say that, because in my world growing up, my doctor also did house calls, but not because my doctor did house calls, but because my doctor lived up the street from my house, and they had to pass my house in order to get home. And so sometimes my doctor, instead of having my mom bring us in, my doctor just be like, it's like, I know, they're throwing up a whole lot. I'll bring the suppositories. Just don't hold the cheeks. No, they didn't say that. But no, I was lucky enough to have a doctor that did do house calls as well. Not too many people, at least in the United States, that are my age, got to say that they had a doctor that did house calls. But I was very fortunate. Coincidentally fortunate. It wasn't like, Terry in Scotland, dairy hogs, are those a thing? That's funny. I didn't realize that Kulika mentioned that. So let's see. Let's see here. Okay, so Darlene, your son-in-law says a child or even an adult running a fever means their body is fighting what's going on, but once 103 or higher, cooler towels on the forehead or back of neck. You got close to that 104. Oh no, Rick. You got close to 104 when the city water gave us crypto and not the Bitcoin kind crypto. Sounds like you and Kenny might have swallowed a similar amoeba, I'm thinking. Yes, indeedy. I'm thinking. And, yeah, Kenny, you might have been, were you drinking from the same well as Rick was that one day? Yeah, I had a feeling. Yep, I had a feeling that was the symptom of your amoeba distress. That is correct. Amoeba distress is what you were having. And, Pinnell, so you were just a hot-headed child to begin with, right? Whenever you got the flu, you just got really high fevers. Yeah, I guess no wonder your mom was just like, yeah, she's just getting sick. No big deal. And, Rick, yeah, since then you switched to beer. Well, any kind of canned beverage, they do make sure to have some clean water and then add a little bit of alcohol in it. Well, that's even doubly clean, didn't it? Kenny from the Cove. Yeah, different well, same dangerous water. Yep, exactly. All right, so while we were watching Lono, I was getting the picture of the puppies that Vanilla Coke Pepsi shared with us. And even though it's not as snowy as one person on this stream, I'm not going to say who because I stole this off of their Facebook page, but where they're at, looks like this right now because it's the first snow in their new place. And that's heavier snow than what Vanilla Coke Pepsi got. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi, his pupperdoodles, they just got little snows. And their little snows made them happy. You can tell they're just running around, trying to figure out what's falling from the sky. I wish that there was a little bit more snow that I could, I wish it was a video that he sent us, because puppies running around in the snow is probably the cutest thing in the world. Even though I'm a kitten person, I have to say, puppies are so cute. They're just the best. The little puppers in the snow, little boy and a girl. They're brothers and sisters. I don't remember which one is the boy and which one is the girl. I think the girl is the lighter one, and I think the boy is the darker one. But Vanilla Coke Pepsi is definitely the one who's going to have to explain all this. And since he left, well, I'm just going to say that the lighter one is the girl and the darker one is the boy. And that's just what I'm going to say. And let's see here. Let's go back to my face. All right. And Pussycat, you have an amoeba in Florida that gives you brain infection and it's deadly. Yeah, I don't know if it's an amoeba or if it's a bacteria, but we've got one of those up here in the Pacific Northwest too. It's not very common because it's usually found in much warmer water. But it's definitely somebody in the Western Washington area did die from it, from exposure at a local waterway. I don't remember what waterway. I don't remember the details, but I do remember when I was reading about it, I was really surprised because I knew I'd heard of people in your neck of the woods, the South, having this issue. And I always thought it was something that was associated with warmer water, but nope, apparently not. Yeah, it's in the water over 82 degrees. See, I thought that was the case. So whatever waterway this local person was swimming in, obviously got to be regularly over 82 degrees, I guess, or something. I don't know. I was very confused about how and why it happened up here, because prior to it happening up here, I was like, oh, that's cool. Just another reason for me not to go swimming not to go to the South. But up here in the North, in the South, they've got everything that will kill you, including their water. But up here in the North, we don't have to worry about that. Like, I did actually at one point in my life think that. And then that happened, and I was like, okay, I guess the Pacific Northwest doesn't get to lord that over the South anymore. But you guys, that amoeba or bacteria or whatever the flying fork it was or is can be found in a lot of water supplies, like I just said, Pacific Northwest or the South, which is why if you use a neti pot, which, I can't even understand why people use neti pots, but people do. When you use a neti pot, you're supposed to use distilled water. You are not supposed to use tap water at all, ever, no matter where you are. Don't use tap water. You need to use distilled water for this very reason. It's it can get into water systems, and it's able to cross that little blood-brain barrier, and it can get into your brain. So let's see here. No, Picola T, I didn't talk about the baby orcas spotted in Puget Sound this week. All of the baby orca news that came across my feed this week was old baby orca news. So I didn't even know about the baby orcas of which you speak. So I might have to look into that because I want to know. I want to know what pod it was. Was it J? Was it K? Was it L? I want to know. And let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, north, south, east, west. You can't go anywhere on this planet where some element of nature won't get you. That's true, but there are some places, though, that just like their animals and their bugs are a little bit more aggressive. Texas, for instance. Texas ants are way more aggressive than any kind of ant you're going to run across in the Pacific Northwest. It just is. And I know this because multiple times when I've been in Texas, I've been bitten by different kinds of ants. I've gotten ants in my pants. Yeah, literally, dude. I've gotten ants in my pants. And yes, it made me do the boogie dance. I have had ants crawl up my leg all surreptitiously, and then the moment I notice that they're on my leg, they then coordinate their bite all at once. Yeah, we don't, our ants are not nearly as, aggressive as yours. And, Terry, what in the cat hair is a neti pot? Yes, Kulika, they work if you can get past the gag reflex. Right, I can't get past the gag reflex. But yeah, and Gina is sort of explaining to you what it is. It looks like a tiny little teapot, only it's not for tea. You fill it with water and you like pour it up your nose and then it like comes out your other nose or something. Okay, not your other nose. Let's try that again, shall we? Goes up one nostril, comes out the other nostril, I think. And it cleans your sinuses, clears your sinuses. People who have really bad allergies swear by them. And it's difficult for me just to even watch someone using one, let alone thinking about using one. But lots of people use them. And if you're one of those people, stop doing it directly out of the tap. At least boil your own water first and then let it cool down. Let it cool down. Let it cool down. Don't put the boiling water up into your nose. That's not what I said. What I said was boil your own water and let it cool down. Cannot be clearer about that, I hope. And once it's cooled down, then maybe you can do it, but never straight out of the tap. Never. Exactly, Rick. And yeah, Kulika, luckily we have no fire ants in the Northwest. I mean, we do have little red ants. Like, if they bite you, it's like, well, that's mildly annoying. Aren't you cute? And then, of course, we've got the big carpenter ants, where if they bite you, it's like, huh, that's a significant bite that I can feel, but you're not giving me any venom, and I'm just gonna go boink and send you flying. But yeah, we luckily don't have any fire ants. And yeah, Pussycat, the ants that I were bitten by were not fire ants. I don't even want to think about that. So even the non-fire ants in Texas area are more aggressive and awful, and their bite actually does hurt. Not like a fire ant bite. I'm not even arguing that. The ants that I got bit by, definitely painful, but I was able to walk away from it. Musty, no, I'm from Seattle, but Kenny from the Cove is from Texas. And when I was in Texas once, not visiting Kenny from the Cove, but whatever, I got ants in my pants, and I did the boogie dance. And Pussycat, oh no, you have fire ants in your yard? Well, I would say kill it with fire, but I don't really know if fire ants die with fire. Exactly, Rick. You can use boiling water in your neti pot and pour it on the fire ants. That sounds like a plan. And yeah, Kenny from the Cove. Fire ants will give you a painful stinging bite, and it causes a small white head-looking blister. Right. All the little ants that were on my leg. Okay, first off, the ants that were in my pants that made me do the boogie dance, they didn't really bite me. I mean, they bit me a little bit, but like, they was whatever. But then the ants that like got on my leg and then all at once bit me, they were definitely like, ooh, yeah, they know how to bite. But they didn't leave any kind of wound, per se. So that's why I know that they weren't the fire ants. But oh god, they were very painful. Gina, carpenter ants are termites, right? I don't think so. I think they're actually ants. However, yes, they might as well be a termite. They eat wood just like termites do. And some people actually have them in their house so badly that you can hear them gnawing on the wood in the beams. We had a carpenter ant problem in my house growing up, and the reason why we figured it out was because my mom started noticing the tiniest little piles of sawdust in the strangest places, just on random surfaces. And it was the work of the carpenter ants in the ceiling above. And I remember another time during this era of carpenter ants in my house, a candy cane fell down between my wall and the back of my desk. And it had been there, I don't know, a while. And so I was in my room one day, and there was no music on, the house was silent, and I could hear crunching and eating, and I could hear noise, right? And so I follow my ear to where the sound is coming from, and it was the candy cane behind the desk, between the desk and the wall, and 5 or 6 carpenter ants had just eaten. You didn't know that the candy cane was eaten if you looked at it, but if you picked it up, they basically had eaten, their way through it. It was hollowed out inside, and that's what I was hearing, was them crunching through the sugary sugar. So carpenter ants also like sugar, apparently, and unlike a lot of ants that hate mint, carpenter ants apparently have no problem with mint. They were eating the flippin', they were just, eating the candy cane. They liked the candy cane more than I did. And let's see here, Rick. Okay, Rick brings up another good point. Another way you can tell when you have carpenter ants is Rick could tell because of all the tiny beer cans that they left laying around. That's another way you can tell you have carpenter ants. And Pussycat, you have carpenter ants with wings. I think our carpenter ants get wings once a year. So they go fly and find new mates, like the boys go fly or something. I could be making that up. I don't think I'm making that up, but I could be making that up. And let's see here. Kulika coming in. No, 2 different things. Termites aren't usually found north of Highway 30, the Lincoln Highway, at least here in the Midwest. Yeah, I really don't. I've never heard of termites being an issue in the Pacific Northwest. Carpenter ants are the problem here. And let's see here. And Darlene, yep. Rick tore out the inside of the cabin and found a nest in the wood that was, honeycombed. Yeah, the wood had to be replaced and exterminated before rebuilding. Absolutely, yeah. They can. They definitely. That's what they do. And Rick, carpenter ants really eat wet wood. You don't think they go after sugar? Well, they were. I don't know what these ones were on a sugar binge. I don't know, but they were eating the. They ate. It's actually kind of impressive. I mean, they ate a tunnel through. It was a straight candy cane, and so they just bored this hole right through. They were digging on it. I mean, and yeah, carpenter ants don't like sugar. Okay, well, apparently they do. And not only that, most ants don't like mint at all. They use mint as an organic, safe insecticide. And so what these ants were doing, eating sugar mint, is, I guess, evolving into the next generation of hellscape ants that we're going to have to deal with in the 22nd century. Or something. Wait, 22nd century? We're in the 21st century right now, right? Whatever. Pussycat, a house just up the street has been tented for termite treatment. There you go. And yeah, exactly, Kulika. The beer cans are a very normal sign of the carpenter's ants. Here's the deal, though. So if you're going to find the beer cans, that generally means they're lazy and not working. But if they're not lazy and they are working, then you're going to find the sawdust piles. So the sawdust piles and the beer cans are the 2 ways that you can, for certain, identify carpenter ants. Not termites. These are carpenter ants. Because we're silly like that. And Kenny from the Cove, those ants got high and had the munchies. They just didn't know what they were eating. I don't think at that point in my life I would have been the source to get them high. but I can't promise that. All right, you guys, so it's getting to be a time where we want to wrap things up, and unfortunately, I don't have the movie that I wanted to show you, but because it is getting snowy out there, and it's getting chilly out there, I thought it would be a good time to watch the bear movie that Kenny sent us, because pretty soon the bears will go into hibernation, and then we can't watch the movie. So, you see, we're going to watch the bear movie. It's a Disney movie. It's about bears. And I don't know anything other than that. And then I also know that it might make you cry, because I always cry at animal movies. And Kenny was like, yeah, you'll probably cry then. So it might make me cry, and it might make you cry. But yeah, it's called Bears, and it's by Disney, and it's not a cartoon. It's a real... I mean, it's a documentary, I guess, or something. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But yeah, and Kenny from the Cove promising, oh yeah, Stouter's gonna cry. Yeah, well, I mean, Pussycat, you can't bear to watch it. Oh no, that's exactly it. So yeah, Stouterbox at the cinema, 6 p.m. West Coast time, 4 p.m. Hawaii time, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 p.m. for the Central Time folk. That will be the movie this Saturday. I don't know if I can only assume, because it's a Disney movie, it's not going to run over 2 hours. It's probably just like an hour and a half or whatever, but I don't know, because I don't have the running time in front of me. I got nothing. And, Darlene, I don't know. Oh, Kenny, why are you telling us all these things right now? Yeah, Darlene, I don't know, if we'll be learning about bears or not, but Kenny just warned us about why it's just awful. And so, so be sure to get your little Kleenexes ready and stuff. And there you have it. Yeah, exactly. Bacola T, you can't wait to hear about the grizzly details next week. Perfect. Okay, so that is awesome. All right, you guys. I know, Terry, you should have said spoiler alert, but too late now. The cat's out of the bag, or the beer's out, the bear's out of the den, as it were. And yeah, I guess it is the bear version of Bambi, Cindy. But oh well. We've been warned, and so now Darlene knows to bring the box of tissues. I know to bring the box of tissues. You're all warned. Tissues might be needed. Okay, so thanks everybody for gift subbing and resubbing and any kind of biddies, etc. Thank you all for hanging out and joining the chat. Without you guys, we wouldn't have any chatter scatter. And Lord knows that chatter today scattered quite nicely. I don't even know. I can't even pick out the trail that we walked today. That's how much we scattered. So there's a tear in your beer. Yep, there you go. It's just unbearable, isn't it? All right, so good night, y'all, and we will hopefully see each other on Saturday. And if Andy Bumatai happens to do another pop-up stream between now and then, I hope to see you there too. All right, everybody, take care.